the stream is up. So welcome to our stream. This is going to be session 36 of Takerath Rising, as it is officially called. Though I've never actually called it that. I've just known in my head that that's what it was called. But welcome. We're still waiting on one of our players. Once that player arrives, I think we'll get going. But let's start with a customary recap. What happened last week?
Okay, let me pull up the thing. Okay.
While Percy's doing that, customary bowl of ramen.
Of course.
Just so everyone sees it. As is custom.
Customary cheers to everyone.
I will
Okay.
pop this beverage that I am not going to show.
Gotta keep the labels hidden.
That's why it's handy to have big hands. You have no idea.
That's why I have a koozie.
Andre the Giant Hands, just like...
Nothing special. Okay. So, recap.
Okay, now I can recap. Officially. Okay. Session 35. The last session. Alright. So we start, and Giger is impaled on a tree, because of course he is. Why wouldn't he be? And there's lots of fire. He's being burned by fire. And he's awake for all of this somehow. And so out in the distance, there's like a kind of like a hill. There's like a flat stone top, and all of the trees are on fire. And it's a whole thing. So he's sitting there, and he's like, "Hey, Zapcook, I don't know how you expect me to serve you like this if you obviously don't care about me or my well-being." Gesture to tree through internal organs. And he doesn't respond because, of course, he doesn't. And so Giger finally decides he's going to get off the tree. So he, shimmies off the tree, lands on the ground, breaks both his legs because he's like 20 feet up in the air. And he ends up back on the stone platform deal. It takes him a hot minute because he has to crawl now. And so he gets there. The only thing on there is his razor, his pack weapon. Pulls it out, and then Zapcook shows up right behind him, and says, "Purpose," because he only speaks in one word at a time. That's his deal. And so then Giger is back on the screen. And so oh yeah, another interesting point. So apparently Giger's looking around, and he notices that there's they're like enclosed in something. Like there's a shimmering ball kind of off to the side, which is weird and strange. So he sits there, and he becomes unconscious, and he, I guess, dies in his dream, but wakes up in real life, which is good. So he wakes up, and he sees his journal kind of next to him. Anyways, so he has his journal, and he kind of thinks to himself, all of this stuff that Zapcook's given me is a bit more like a prison than power, because I have all this power, but I don't know what to do with it, and there's no purpose for all of this, for any of this. And so he kind of decides he's going to try to get his way out of maybe being with Zapcook. Maybe. I mean, that's always my hope, but whatever. But he's hoping that this journal has something to do with helping him. So he starts kind of like meditating on it and seeing it, and the journal actually starts to fill itself out. And it's like a third-person account of everything that happened in the dream. And it's some of it's not even stuff that Giger saw with his own eyes. It's all the way. It's like all knowing, omniscient, third person omniscient. There you go. I took English in high school. That's what that means. Let's see. Jeez. Oh yeah. So it's there for about 10 minutes before it starts to fade. So Giger's like, books it to go find Dice. and see if it has anything to do with the lady. And so he finds them in the garden, and Dice is like, "Yo, that's Celestial. How about that?" And Dice can read Celestial because of course they can. And so they read it for a little bit, and it's like, well, that's spooky. Whatever that dream was, that was really spooky. You should not have those anymore if you can help it. And so Gear's like, could you do some of your like magic mumbo jumbo on this journal and figure out if the lady's got anything to do with it? And they're just like, oh well, I mean, I can. So they do some ritual things out in the garden, and it turns out that this journal has absolutely nothing to do with the lady whatsoever, absolutely none. Um, and whatever presence was around Giger is not there anymore, and it's just like an empty husk, like a corn husk. Uh, how it was explained to me. So meanwhile, during all of this, Mafuyu and her sister Yune wake up, and they're just kind of everywhere. But they wake up and they go get breakfast. Ando also gets up, and he kind of sees the people working in the basement. He goes, "Yeah, yeah, I like those guys. Reminds me of my clan." Um, and oh yeah, and then Dao has spent the entire night in the library trying to figure out all of these where all these clues go about his father's last letter to him. Taking another point of exhaustion. Couldn't be me. Um, and so okay, so back to the garden. Dice tries to impress upon Giger that he is not alone and he doesn't need Zothkug, and and that the party is always there to help him. And then Dice makes a suggestion that, hey, this book writes in Celestial, so maybe I should write Celestial in it, and then maybe it'll understand what I'm saying. And Giger's like, well, I mean, we could try. So Dice Dice writes, hi, my name is Dice. Are you here to help Giger? Please help him. I would appreciate it. He deserves it. In this beautiful script Celestial, because that's just how it looks. And for some reason, Giger and Ando both think it looks like chicken scratch, which makes Dice a bit sad. And so yeah, so eventually Ando has wandered over and he sees what's been going down, so he gets filled in about all of this, and he's like, a wise gnome once told me, be careful with books, and gesturing to this yellow book that he has from Greta. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, and then Dice continues to panic about what they're going to do about Felben because Dice is a terrible liar. Yeah, and then the party goes to find Doubt because he's been dead for a bit. And you walk in, and Dao has his father's last note to him just crawled all over the wall, and he's got pages from books. There's books lying open everywhere. The whole tinfoil hat red string kit and caboodle, just an explosion. And he's like, all right, guys, come in. What do you not see on the wall? There's all this stuff there. What do you not see? It's like, well, I don't really see any of like your memories of your dad or like how you feel about it. There's lots of stuff about like things adjacent and about him, I guess, but not any feeling in it. And so yeah, he's like, I didn't really know my dad. I didn't know my dad, didn't know my mom. All my family's dead. As far as I know, I raised myself, and so he's really been he's really been stuck on this one bit in the letter that talks about a red lark in a mountain, which I suggest that this might have something to do with the Krukins and Umnus that they just went and saw, but Dow doesn't really think that's correct. And so eventually everyone else shows up to in the library, and Dice is like, all right, I'm going to settle this once and for all to see if his dad was down there. Sends a message to Takerath, the chieftain of the Krukins. Does not. It doesn't get to him at all. Full stop. Which worries Dice, and so they send a message to Fucky, who's another Krukin down there. It's like, hey, are you guys okay? Is Takerath okay? He didn't get my message. Is Omnis okay? And so Takerath is dead. He's just dead. They're gonna get a new chieftain. I guess they're rebuilding. It makes me sad. And so Dao continues to kind of like fill everyone in, and the Dao and Dice get into a tiff about Dao really needs to sleep and he really needs to eat something. And so he leaves eventually. He walks in town to the Wanderer's Respite where Charlie is, so he can ask about this note. And when he does, Charlie's like, "Hey, let me go get something real quick." And so he goes to the back and brings out a thing, and it's this very long package. And he has in the package is like, "Hey, I made a friend a very long time ago, a good friend, and he said that I would need to find the right person that would need this, and I think I found him. So here you go." So Dad's like, "All right, cool, goodbye." Leaves again, and hides in a closet back at the party house. And when he opens it, he finds that it's his family's katana that's been passed down from generation to generation. And his dad was the last person who had it. Meanwhile, while it's been going on, so Giger, he goes to pontificate on this journal again, and he attunes to the book. It's a dream journal. It writes down your dreams. That's about it. The pages don't end. And let's see. And then Dice and Ondo are still in the library, and Dice feels extremely bad for not seeing any signs that the help is, I guess, what Dice perceives.
I think your audio just cut out, or mine did. One of our audios cut out.
My audio is fine.
Oh, well, it's just me
Yeah,
then.
so is mine.
Or that's lie. I can hear you, Kyle,
Okay.
but I cannot hear Emma.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think
can't
Purse
hear
is.
Percy.
I think Purse
I can't
is
hear Percy at all.
lost. Purse is lost. Lost to the void.
Or she's reading her notes.
I don't think she can hear us at all. That's okay. Oof, yeah, that broke hard.
Technical difficulties.
I love them. Okay. I feel bad because they're still going.
Well,
Hold on, let's send a message.
Yeah, I think they have their notes up and they're not.
Yeah, I don't think they see the Discord. It's okay. They just now they see it. Now they see it.
They saw it.
It's okay. I'll take over. Hopefully we can get that microphone fixed though. Just a moment while I pull up the notes as well. So the two places that I really want to pick up on from here, because there's a lot that happened last time as in terms of understanding backstories and back dialogue. And we have two characters that aren't going to be here tonight, Dao and Ondo, and so we'll have a bit of a shorter session most likely, just because I don't want to go super deep into story when they're not here. But Dao, during this conversation that he was having with everybody in the library, realized that he hadn't talked to Charlie, the innkeeper, and actually mentioned the actual thing about the larks, and so he does and receives a gift from Charlie, and I don't believe that he took the time to explain that to everybody what he'd received, so I'm not going to deal with that here, but it'll likely be revealed in future sessions. Looks like Giger, you spent some time meditating on your journal, attempting to see if that's a thing that you can form a pact with, because you're not sure right now about your relationship with Zothkug. It's kind of on the not great scale.
Just wanted him. He stapled me to a tree.
Listen, but I mean, technically, it was kind of deserved. Attack a deity, get stuck to a tree. I think that's fair. I don't know. Mafuyu, you took Fuyune and had this moment where you brought her to Sumiko. And you're not quite sure what the relationship was to begin with them, but you got to see even just a few minutes of that blossoming and changing and seeing the growth in Fuyune and a potential opportunity for her to have a job and be safe. And you got to see what Aoi's been doing this whole time that you guys have been gone, because you tasked her when you left with finding income. And she was very, very tentative on that. So you got to see what she's been doing with that. And then Ando left the session taking some time to go to the Adventurers Hall and meet with Artemis. Kind of seeing a little bit of the other side of where Artemis's head's at. Because we'd mentioned in a couple of earlier sessions that he didn't sound quite himself. And so Ando got to see a little bit of why that was and brought forth this book that you guys had received from Greta's lair. The evil night hag that you fought like at session 5 of the new campaign. It was been ages ago. It's been a literal year since you fought Greta. But he brought forth this book for Artemis to look at and explain, and Artemis took no time to open it up and look through it. And Ando saw something that I think he might have liked to see. And when Artemis closed the book and slid it over, it left a bloody smear on the desk. And that is where we left off the last session. As I mentioned, I think we'll have a bit of a shorter session tonight just because I don't want to go too far without Dao and Ando here. But I think I would like to open up while Purse is working on their microphone issues. With...
Can you hear me now?
Oh, we can. Welcome,
Yes.
welcome back.
Yay!
Sorry, I don't know what happened there, but welcome back.
My English
Sometimes...
is garbage. That's exactly what it is.
it's okay. It's school stuff. I get it. Sometimes they just break. But welcome back. Welcome to the living. I think we'll start with Giger. Giger, you've spent the better part of an hour or 2 hours with this book, just focusing on it, trying to form some kind of a pact or deal with it, but not even sure where to begin. Because if memory serves, when you made your pact with Zothkug, which is what it is right now, you didn't have as much of a say in it. It was a thing that was necessary, and you did what was necessary, and they saved you, and that was it. So I'd like to kind of dig into that and see, as you've been taking 2 hours to invest in this book, kind of like where you're at, because you're not getting anything from it, as I believe I explained last session.
Yeah, it's basically with the role I got. Giger is aware that it is a thing. It's a book. It's a dream journal. It'll record my dreams. But past that, it's not like it's not an entity. It's not a thing that I can, it's not going to get me out of the bind that I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
Literally. Dad joke. So at this point, once Giger is finished meditating, he's going to very, very carefully put the book away in his pack and kind of sit for a few minutes and contemplate what he's done, and then he's going to head probably to Dice.
Okay. Now, Dice, this begs the question, where did we leave you off last session? Let's take a little peek here.
I see. I think last session.
I think we left...
Oh yeah, they were staring at all the stuff that Dow had on the library walls.
Okay.
And trying to connect what Dow's found with what Dice remembers from Omnis.
Okay.
If they can fill any of those gaps.
So Giger, as you get up, first of all, it's almost like a strain to raise yourself up off the ground at this point. It's kind of this thing where like you've been sitting for a really long time, and that doesn't normally affect you, but it's kind of this like the old creaking bones as you stand up, and you make your way towards where last you saw Dice, which was the library in your guys' party house. So Dice, you hear the door to the library slide open and see a very weary and almost aged looking Yeager enter the scene. It looks like he's almost got like a couple more wrinkles on his face, because he's a very squat gnome. And you could almost swear that his beard is a little less full and a little bit more gray than it was previously. With that, I'll turn it over to you guys.
I'd like to think that Dice is probably sat at a desk, and trying I say this often, but like the steam coming out the ears, just like very very focused and trying to like process all of the stuff that's in the library, just having just such a difficult time, but just sat frustrated as they're sat there. Oh, hi Giger. What's going on?
Just wanted to tell you, we don't have to worry about the book. It's simply a dream journal. Something sent to torment me, no less. It just reminds me of the horrible dreams that I have.
Well, maybe it ain't meant to torment you none. I mean, it can have other purposes. Can it? I mean, because from what I read, it ain't from your perspective. It's from somebody else's. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe it helps you see the bigger picture. Maybe. I'm curious who sent it to you in the first place.
It appeared in my bag in Omnis. I'm not sure where it came from or why it's here.
You don't think any of the Krugans had anything to do with it, right?
I don't know. I fear that I have made a mistake, though. My patron is exceedingly angry.
Dice, make a perception check.
Oh boy. Oh crap, I'm not in the thing. Let me just sign into the tabletop real quick. Should have done this earlier. Forget every time.
You know you're playing good D&D when you're 20 minutes into the session and you're already out of coffee.
What was that?
I don't know what that was.
Let's see if my internet will even load it. Kyle, might better if you do it.
Okay, I got you. We'll see how this goes, because it'll blast your character sheet to the whole stream, but it'll be all right.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a work in progress
here.
here. Yeah, well, we'll see. Drop that. Boom. With the 22. So apologies.
Hey!
Breaking the immersion here while I figure out how to stream Foundry to two separate clients. With a 22, it's an interesting point of note here. You've seen Giger a couple times today, right?
Yeah.
Giger's fingernails have gone from like military trimmed to they're like 1.5 inches long today. And you'd almost swear that he's just like maybe like 1 inch shorter as well. He just looks haggard and somewhat aged.
Giger, have you been feeling alright recently?
No, I only look like shit. Sickness isn't taking my body to the depths of the deep. I can't think straight. I am exhausted. When I do sleep, I dream. And when I dream, Zafku is there. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, Dice. I'm not serving my purpose. And he's going to make me pay until I do.
And what is your purpose?
To serve. I think I know where I need to go. I need to go back to where I met Zafku for the first time.
And
Maybe
you're
if
sure?
I serve my purpose, he'll let me go. But I have to serve first.
What do you do in your servitude? This all seems very non-specific. You're supposed to be serving, and that's your purpose. But your purpose is serving. What do you serve? What is the point of all that?
To serve Zafku. The rest is complicated. It starts with me going back to where I began, though. I think that's where he's calling me to. And until I do, the longer I wait, the more my body will deteriorate. If I know Zafku, he's simply playing, using my energy, or even just wasting it. I mean nothing to him, except for what my part is in the plan. And if I fail, he will punish me, whether that be through myself directly or through you or the group. I think it's best I appease him, don't you?
I think that you and the rest of us party, we can handle our own. And sure, maybe Zoth could come around and do this, that, and the other, but I think we can take care of ourselves. I've got that faith in all of us. And
yes, against orcs and Red Guard and wolves and humans. Yes. But this is not a human or a Red Guard or an orc or a wolf. It is a deity. It is something that is more powerful than you can imagine.
Giger, we knew going into all this that you were spooky as all get out, and that has not changed any. And now we know you're serving Zovkug, and that's not changed anything. We're still here for you, and that means that we gotta fight some big critter from somewhere, some way. I'm gonna do it. We're all gonna do it, and that's just how it's gonna be.
Your bravery is admirable. I must take my rest. I'm tired. Maybe I can have a nap and not dream.
Maybe you could talk to Jezebel. I mean, I know she gave me something to help me stay awake, but maybe she got something for the opposite. I don't know. I hope you dream a little less.
I could attempt, but I doubt that would be a fruitful journey. However, if you insist, I will go to Jezebel. If she tries to sell me on one of those packages, I don't believe I will take it, though.
You know, Stone's very useful. and very helpful, and I've had mine this entire time, and it has gone nowhere. And
Yes, it has gone nowhere, and you are supposed to sell it, Dice. Mafuyu has been your only customer. I saw that.
you know, you're right. You're right about that one. I ain't much of an entrepreneur. We care about you a lot, Giger. Just remember that.
Yes, and it is that will put you in danger the most, I fear. I will go to Jezebel's now. Maybe she does have an answer. No one else has seemed to know who my deity is, or my patron, whatever he may be called. Maybe she will have some answers. Although slim, who knows?
Well, you know where I'll be. I'll see you around.
Cool. Giger's going to totter off to Jezebel's.
Okay. You make your way down the streets of Azeroth, and your house is kind of like on the eastern district. Jezebel's is over on the right, the western side of the city. Make your way over to the shop, and you see that she's like refreshed all of the flowers that are in the front of her shop, and it's very much like a horticulturist setup. And you walk in, you see her with her bug-eyed glasses. She says, "Yes, welcome. Is there something you're looking for?"
Trying to find something to help rejuvenate me. My patron is angry, and I am slowly but surely fading.
Rejuvenation. That's a very interesting request. What kind of rejuvenation are you searching for?
I feel exhausted. I feel as though I've aged several days or weeks in just a matter of hours.
Well, I will say you're looking a little under the weather. I'll see what I can find. If you're looking for something to get energy, then I can see if there's anything around here that would be beneficial.
That would be agreeable.
She says, I have an herb that I think might help. We'll give it a go, and if it doesn't work, then we can pursue other methods. How does that sound?
If you believe that it will work, I will give it a try.
I believe in many things. This is not one of them, but we can give it a go and see. And she kind of like goes behind her counter and pulls out a vial of a crushed, looks like a greenish herb that's in a small vial. Hands it over and says, I could do this for 1 silver piece. This should be enough to last for a day or two. Would give a decent amount of energy and help you at least to take the edge off of whatever you're dealing with.
I suppose that would be acceptable. I forgot where...
Should be in your inventory screen.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah, I will slide her over a silver piece.
Okay. She hands you this small vial that smells very, very foresty. And you can see that it's got little crushed flowers in there as well. And just mix this with some water and drink it, and I think it should, it should at least energize you a little bit if you're feeling under the weather or worn down. Unfortunately, old age can come upon us quickly and have drastic effects, but I'm sure it will do wonders for you.
Indeed. Were I not still a young man, I would know. Would you happen to know anywhere that I might be able to get information on any deities of the land? I'm curious. My patron isn't known to many. I have very little information I would like to know.
Deities regarding the land? You could check the library, just outside the Imperial Temple. That's always a good source for information. But I can't say I'm familiar with any sort of patron of this nature. Perhaps if you had some more information, I could see if it rings a bell. But I think the library would be your best bet.
See. Then I shall try the library. I thank you for your assistance.
Of course. Is there anything else?
No, that will be all for now. Thank you.
Wonderful. I hope not to see you again, but it would be nice.
Giger will just kind of nod his head and proceed out.
Okay. Where's your next stop? Is it the library, or what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I guess we're gonna go to the library.
Yeah. So let's do an investigation check.
Where is it? There it is. Sorry.
You're okay. Let us take a peek here with a 21. Well, let's do some research here and find out what you find. So as you enter in this library, and you guys have been here, I think, like twice previously at the very, very start of the campaign. This is entirely dedicated to the Empire with like massive columns. It's a 3-story building with shelves on each. Sorry, I can't speak to each floor. With everything from scrolls to books to even maps of the land. With the 21, you spend some time trying to do some research for specifically deities regarding the land. What you do find is that there is an imperial deity called Shantae that is said to be the Great Earth Mother. Other than that, there's not much as far as like patrons or connections of that nature. Shantae would be something that's a minor deity in this realm, usually served by farmers, but it's more of a clerical level, not necessarily a patron. Typically, a patron is going to be something like a demon or a fiend or a very, very minor deity, and you're not finding anything specifically in the Imperial Annals about. You don't see any record of Zothkug or something similar.
I think I'll just head back to the house at this point.
Okay. I'd like to imagine that you probably head back about the same time that Mafuyu is finishing their meeting at the new Okia down the road, and you end up at the door front as you see an armored guard is knocking on the door. As he sees you guys approach, he says, "Oh, good timing. I'm glad to see you all have made it back safe. I bring word from the magistrate if you have a moment."
For the magistrate, would we not have any moment? What would you need?
Nothing from you, just trying to arrange a meeting.
I see.
If you're free this evening, the magistrate would love to invite you over for some light refreshments and to discuss the findings of your investigation.
Yes, tea would be lovely. I will alert the others.
Wonderful. I will let the magistrate know and make sure things are arranged. If you come around sundown, I think that should be fine. If that works for you.
This will work.
Wonderful. If you need anything else, don't hesitate to let us know. And he kind of like regirds himself and heads over and goes down the street to where you would imagine he's going to alert the magistrate what's going on. But you all are back in your home. Satsuka's off somewhere cleaning and scurrying about as she always does. But the house is yours.
I believe the term is zooting.
Yeah, she zoots. That's what she does.
She's zooting.
She's got the zoomies at all times. It never ends.
Did Fune come back with Mafuyu?
Yes. The agreement hasn't quite been reached yet whether or not they will start working in the Okia. And so for right now, as far as I'm aware, that she's still with Mafuyu.
Nah, kicked her to the curb. Goodbye.
Yeah, she got kicked out. I don't know where she's at. Dropped off the radar.
We only went through all that for nothing.
Yeah, it's all good.
All right. I think I'll find a seat and take a seat, and because I'm assuming you're feeling kind of woofed it.
Yeah, that's a word for it. It's not a comfortable feeling, to be sure. And it's not something that you've necessarily felt before. Like, you've been battle weary, where you just feel like all of the energy is drained out of you. This is so much deeper than that. You feel like you've aged considerably, and you look it. So I'd like to imagine that you enter into the main formal dining room and kind of take a seat. And there's a moment that everything is just okay for just a second. Like, your feet are up off the ground, like you don't have that weight on them anymore, and it feels okay. And then you get the desire to move again, and everything is sore. That's your current state of affairs.
How long do we have until we have to go meet the magistrate?
You've got a couple hours if you'd like to do something. I believe we covered up until like the early afternoon.
Yeah, I think Giger is going to wave over to Mafuyu.
Yes?
I need to take a rest. Will you find Dice and inform them that we have tea with the magistrate this evening at sundown?
Sure. Do you need any help getting to your bed?
I will be okay. I'm just very tired.
Okay. But if you do need anything, please let me know. And I'm assuming Fiona's kind of there.
Yeah, she hovers.
I'm gonna kind of address her and be like, can you keep an eye on him? He doesn't look so great.
Sure, if that's what you'd like. I'd be more than happy to.
Yes, thank you. I'll be right back. I'm gonna try and find Dice and let them know.
Okay. And as you, I like to imagine, like, as you leave, she like goes into the kitchen and grabs some bread, and she just like sits down across from Giger, and she says, "Well, I was hungry, so I thought maybe I'd just join you and have a bit of a rest, if that's fine." Trying as hard as she can to be nonchalant about this whole situation.
This is Fiona, right?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Giger will just kind of side-eye. You are kind still, despite your troubles. I admire that. I was not so strong myself. I'm going to take a nap now.
Okay.
And Giger's just going to close his eyes.
You can see kind of like as you close off, like she might have said something to that, but she's wanting to be more respectful of you wanting to take a nap and understanding that you're tired. She just says, okay. And just like nibbles on her bread and just like make sure that you don't like die in your sleep. Giger, make an insight check for me.
There we go.
Sorry, I've got research tabs up. I
That's
can't see
the kind of roll I'm waiting for.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah, man, you just don't feel good. It's one of those things with a 5. I don't think you'd really get any additional insight. You just feel worn down. Mafuyu, you go to find Dice. Dice, what have you been doing in this time? It's been about 30, 45 minutes, not long at all.
Yeah. Dice has a plan. So Dice has left the house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're going out and about.
Okay.
And Dice. Okay, bear with me here. Dice is gonna find the like kind of like a restaurant that is like mid tier, like not a dump, but not like the Crystal Flute. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Bear with me here.
Okay. To what? Okay. So you're just looking for a restaurant.
So Dice is DoorDash.
I guess we did need passive income, so I guess this is the way. Okay.
Bear with me here, okay? All right, just don't even worry about it.
Okay. No, I'm not stressed at all. So as far as restaurants go, I'd say probably your best bet for mid-tier food would probably be the Adventurers Hall.
Adventures.
Lower
Okay.
tier is going to be the Wanderer's Respite, where you'd find Charlie. It's kind of like the more rundown parts of town, and the Crystal Flute is what it is. Quite high class. For just like standard fare, you'd probably be looking at something like the Adventurers Hall. Let me see.
Okay.
I'll double check and make sure there's not another spicy inn that I'm not thinking of.
Spicy inn.
Another spicy inn.
Specifically a spicy inn.
No, that's what we got in Azeroth. Those three.
Okay, I guess we're going to the Adventurers Hall then.
Yeah, you. So what are you doing?
You like to know.
I'm a little curious.
Bear with me.
Okay.
We're going to the Adventurers Hall.
Yeah, you push open the doors. Artemis is there. I'd like to imagine that like Ando's probably like just left because you guys are kind of like all doing stuff in sync but at different times. So it looks like he's just cleaning up. Looks like wine spilled on the counter. You're not sure what that's about. But yeah, he's there cleaning up the counter.
Weird.
Super weird.
Well, hello there, Artemis. It's good to see you.
You see,
We're back.
he kind of like looks up and says, "Oh, it's good to see you too. I just finished talking to one of your companions, actually. I trust everything is well."
Oh, I mean everything's fine and dandy. We're all getting readjusted in the house and whatnot.
Of course.
So, how are you doing? I haven't seen you in a bit.
I've been better, but all right, I suppose.
Oh, and what's this business with this secret thing you got going on? Like I said, secret. You don't want.
Well, it's
What is
you see that he like looks around and it's a tavern.
I forget every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
He says, "Well, it's
Every time.
not so much a secret as it is just an opportunity for those that I trust. It is more of a full group discussion. Just as you can imagine, I'd like to just relay everything once as opposed to 6 times.
That's probably a better idea.
Aye.
Probably a better idea.
But
You're so smart.
I mean, business is fine. The boy is helping quite a bit. I was able to help your friend find a bit of work, I believe, which was, I think, mutually beneficial. But what about you? What brings you this way?
All right. I need to borrow the hall for a bit, for a time. So we just went out and did this thing, this that, and the other, and so we've all come back, and Mafuyu brings everybody so much joy all the time, and she doesn't really get a lot back for it. And I know she loves to dance, and I'm sure she misses home. And I just kind of wanted to borrow your tavern for a bit, and maybe decorate it all nice, so we can have a dance. That's all.
I see. Well, I'm sure we can arrange something. It would take a little bit of preparation. When are you intending to do this?
I guess it depends on how long it's going to take to get everything set. Oh, and I've got some coinage left on my persons. if you need it or whatever. Because I imagine that borrowing a whole tavern would lose you some money.
Yes, significant. I mean, you miss out on an entire day's revenue for sure. And is this a private, exclusive event that you're trying to rent for, or?
You know, you know what? The more the merrier. If everybody from Kingdom Come can come, why not?
That's a bit easier. So, what I'm understanding is you're trying to find an opportunity. If correct me if I'm wrong at any point here, for festivities for your friend.
Yes.
Well, that shouldn't be hard at all. I mean, things can get a little rowdy in here without causing any significant issue, as long as nothing's broken, of course. Um, if you have decorations, I have money for decorations. I have the boy that I can have put up whatever you have. I could likely have something set up for this evening, if that would work. As long as we're not having to close down the entire tavern, then that saves me having to let everybody that I mean, families come here to eat, and it would be, as you can imagine, a little bit troublesome to come to your restaurant and have it be closed. So as long as it's not being closed down, I think it should be fine.
Right. The most important thing is that there's got to be music. There's got to be someone playing something. Can't have a quiet dance.
And it's for Mafuyu, yes?
Yeah.
I think I have just the thing. I will take care of that portion. If you have some funds for decorations or decorations that you'd like to use, preferably nothing flammable. I know how adventurers can get. Nothing explosive, obviously. I prefer nothing super messy, but whatever you have, we will see what we can do with. You can either leave them here at the counter, or if you have them on your person, I can take them. Kind of like trails off. So do you have anything with you, on you?
Is he asking me for decorations?
Yes.
I ain't got any on me. The thing is, Artemis, is that I get these ideas in this in right here, and I just have them, and then I do something with them. This I ain't got anything. This is I thought about this yesterday.
I understand.
I can come back later, or actually, yeah, that'd be fun.
I have.
Pause for the cost. I'll be back.
I have an okay. And did you just leave?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So you just like he's like about to offer you this idea, and you just do, as you all do. You just straight up just like turn around and leave. So yeah, Mafuyu, you look for dice. You know where they are. They disappeared at some point. And about like 10 minutes later, Dice comes in the house. You guys are this is literally like a sitcom at this point. With just the people coming and going from this freaking house. It's like an episode of Frasier. So a few moments later, Dice, you re-enter the house. And did you leave like right as everyone else did? Or how does that timeline look for Dice?
Probably left about, let's say, like 20 minutes after Giger left.
Okay.
The library.
So you're coming home maybe 5 to 10 minutes after that guard has just left and things like that. So Giger at this point is settled in the library. You come in. You see Mafuyu's. You can hear the footsteps of Mafuyu like running around looking for you. What do you do in the scene?
I'll find Fiyune.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna make you roll for that. It's not very hard to get to the dining room. You start looking for her, and the one. Okay, this is even better actually. What's the one fact everyone knows about Mafuyu?
That I mean that she's a Hangyoke. She likes to dance.
Okay, yeah, fair. Okay, those are good facts. I take it back. Those are the things I don't think about. Mafuyu loves to eat.
Yeah,
And so it makes sense that's the first thing that I think of when I think of Mafuyu. Sorry, I don't think about her race and class. So your first instinct is dining room, because where else would Fuyune be? Because she's Mafuyu's sister. And you slide open the door as Dice does. This time you don't break it down like you did, the first time you went in the dining room.
Hey, it's fine.
It's all fine. It's all fine. You slide the door open and see Fuyune like quickly turns to you and goes like this. And she points, and you see that Giger is just in a chair doing one of those old man dozes. Like he's sitting in the chair, like his shoulders are hunched and his head's just like, his chin's just like on his chest.
I'll gesture for Fuyune to like come out of the dining hall.
You see she like looks at Giger and then looks at you and just kind of like nods and gets up, kind of like keeping eyes on both of you. Is there something the matter?
All right, Fuyune, this is very important. It's for your sister. You cannot tell her that I asked you this question. Actually, any of these questions.
I am not entirely comfortable with secrets.
I promise it's gonna be all right. What is Mifuyu's favorite color?
Okay. Now, Dennison, we haven't had this discussion, but I'd like to imagine it's either like a periwinkle or a lavender. But I feel like Fuyune would know.
Periwinkle.
Okay.
Probably periwinkle.
Okay. She says, I'd imagine like a periwinkle would probably be her favorite.
All right. Does she have a favorite flower? And also, does she like sparkles? Like lots of sparkle. Is like what level of sparkle is she all right with?
These are very interesting questions.
I told you it's gonna be wonderful. Don't even worry about it.
Dennison, does Mafuyu have a favorite flower? Sorry, these are the things that I guess I need to start adding into character intros.
Probably the moonflower.
Okay. I'm actually going to pull that up because I want to see what that looks like. Because I want to get inside your head.
Okay, like, I think...
I can see it.
I think it's like a white morning glory or whatever, I think.
Mm-hmm.
What it's called too. Yeah.
Okay. And does Mafuyu like sparkles? And if so, on a scale from like a D, like a 1 to a 6, what's our ratio here?
Probably a 6.
Okay,
extra glitter.
I was gonna say 4, so 6 works. Just instinctive. I was thinking my first thought was lilies and hibiscus, and then probably a 4. So I approve. Fuyune kind of like thinks for a moment. Make an insight check.
I think you're gonna have to make it. It's
Beans, you're still broken? Oh my gosh.
You know what? The internet has forsaken me. I'm so sorry.
You can say you're sorry, but will it ever be enough? Jeez Louise. With a 25.
Hey!
Evidently, this is what we need, is just me to roll every roll. With a 25. You realize there's a moment that, especially with everything Fuyune has been through, this is such low level, just life stuff, that it's refreshing for her. Because as opposed to being like captured and like going through all of these different like traumatic life experiences, this is just like, what's Mafuyu's favorite flower? And it's just a sweet and refreshing question for her. And she says, I mean, I can't really speak to now, but I know when we used to live together in Rattenwick, she was ever so fond of the moonflower. Anytime she could get her hands on them, whether she was picking them or found them on the road or somebody was selling them, she would beg for moonflowers. And regarding glitter, that's a bit more of an odd question, but I think she's a very big fan. What did you have in mind? I quite like where this is going, I think.
not tell her. You can't tell her, or I'm gonna be. I ain't gonna be upset with you. I'm just gonna be sad.
You see her like lean forward and like look both ways, and she says, "The walls have ears. What's up?"
Dice has this moment of like, oh god, the walls have ears. She's like, all right. So Mafuyu is wonderful. I think she's wonderful, and I don't think I tell her that enough. I don't think really any of us tell her that enough, and I think she needs to feel some joy and appreciated for all of what she does. And so I'm going to put together a little soiree for Mafuyu, and it's just everyone's gonna dance, and that's all, because I know she likes to dance.
Okay, that sounds nice. I think a lot of sparkles would be good for something with a dance. Um, can you get silk?
Probably.
I think silk would go very well with this.
All right. And then
Do you have dancers in mind?
No. I mean, I guess in my brain, when you got a dance, it's just everybody who's attending is just doing their own thing, and they just dance around.
Well, in my experience, personally, yes and no. But it may be helpful. You see, and she kind of like does this thing where she like looks both ways again and like checks Giger real quick and then like leans in. It just so happens that Mifuyu and I just left the geisha house. And I don't know what your budget is, but it might be beneficial to see if they are free for the evening to perhaps rent them out.
That would be so amazing.
I mean, I would
You're
give
so smart.
as much notice as you could because they'd need to prepare something. But that might be nice for Mafuyu, and it's certainly a low stress, puts less stress on the people that are supposed to be dancing, because it can be hard sometimes to, get people up and on their feet.
The only problem is that it's tonight. That's when I talk. That's when I talked to Artemis about it. It's gonna be tonight.
Geisha are ready to entertain at almost a moment's notice. I think you should rush over as quick as you can and see if they can have something prepared. Of course, I can't make promises. I'm not there, but I think they should have at least something, I would imagine. Either something they're working on or be able to pull something out of a hat, if you will.
Okay. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. I'll see you around.
One more thing.
And then Dice kind of like.
Mafuyu was looking for you earlier. Did she meet up with you?
No, I ain't seen her.
You might check on that.
Oh, okay. And then Dice kind of like awkwardly like takes both of their hands and like grabs Fiona's hand and like gives her a handshake. And then doop, suits off.
It's like, okay.
And Dice having no inside voice, like, Mafuyu, hello.
And then I would think that Mafuyu would be upstairs, and so she's kind of just. I don't know how that would carry through that.
I mean, in an empty house, decently, and it's not like the floors are very thick, especially in this kind of construction. I'd say you'd be able to hear something or have an idea and be able to recognize Dice's voice at least.
Gotcha. And I would just imagine I was on the second floor and I'm coming down, like, oh, Dice, and go. I was looking everywhere for you. Where were you?
Oh, I was talking to Artemis for a little bit. That's all.
Oh, did you bump into Ando? I know he went there.
No, well, Artemis said that he had talked to him, or yeah, no, I didn't see him. You know, said you need some.
Oh yes. Well, before Giger went to take his nap, he said that one of the guards came up to him in town and said the magistrate would like to meet us at sundown.
Oh.
He said something about tea and potentially
we're gonna have another tea
up.
party.
Yes.
This day is gonna be so wonderful. I gotta go again. I'll see you very soon. Dice will leave.
Okay. I'll see you later, I guess.
This whole session is conversations and people just ending up talking to themselves for the past, like, the last, like, couple sentences.
Yep. Yeah, so, Dice is going to go around and, first they're going to find, like, the most glittery streamers they can, like, I don't know. We're gonna find the flowers, and we're gonna find, like, silk table coverings that are the periwinkle color.
Okay.
And, yeah, literally, I want it to look like a unicorn just, like, projectile vomited on this whole place. And just,
oh gosh,
like glitter bomb explosion everywhere.
Leave with the Dungeons and Dragons. I make a really rustic looking, like, awesome tavern, and you cover it in just that.
And I cover it in glitter.
So I think that's going to cost you a little bit, because silk and glitter and.
We'll see. If I can't get silk, well, if silk is too expensive, then we can settle only for a little bit less. But
I'd say for just like strips of silk, you're probably looking at like 5 gold, 10 gold, to get everything all mixed up and just get all the accoutrement of party that you would need.
Only 5 gold for all of it? Just the whole thing?
I mean, you're just getting streamers and strips, so they could literally just use scraps.
Oh, okay.
Another question, are you intending to rent it and return it?
Sure.
Because that helps too. So instead of buying literally yards of fabric, you can just borrow some silk. I would say for 10 gold, they'd get you streamers and strips and things like that you could work with. That's probably not meant to be used in this manner, but it could be used in this manner.
Okay.
But before we dig into that, Giger, how you doing, buddy?
Waiting for the commercial interruption to this slice of life that we were getting.
So, Giger, you have not had your tea yet. You settle in your chair, and it doesn't take long for you to fall into a slumber, if you will. And typically in these moments, you immediately wake up and you're in this field, and there's the trees and the stakes with the runes on them, and Zothkug is there, ready to answer your questions, kind of, and give some semblance of instruction and insight. There was a time that you'd be tattooed, if you will, by Zothkug in these moments. But it tattooed. Okay, listen, it was an aggressive tattoo, but a tattoo nonetheless. This is just dreamless. It is not dark. It is not the field. It is not the voices in the void. It is just dreamless. And it's one of those things where you wake up and like jolt yourself awake and realize that an hour or two has gone by and it's just gone. It's just missing time. You don't feel any more rejuvenated. You just feel older. Make an insight check. Good to know. With a 4, you just feel old. If you've started piecing together what is happening, that's fine. But I'm not going to give you any insight into what is going on because you can't roll higher than a 6, as it turns out. It's not a hard check. You just can't hit it, so I'm sorry. But let's dive right back into this sweet and spicy slice of life. Dice, I like to imagine that you have this just bundle of just unicorn vomit fabric. There's whites and there's silvers and the periwinkle, the whole shebang. And you march into the Adventurers Hall, which has never seen anything like this before. And Artemis is... It's like he's dealing with another patient. He like looks over and you see his eyes almost like pop. And he says, "I'll be right back." And he just shushes the customer and is like, "I'll be right back." And comes around and says, "Dice, welcome back. Is this your accoutrement for tonight?"
I brought all the things that I thought I'd need and maybe a bit extra. Where should I put? I still have to go and get things. Where do I throw all this?
You can leave it on the back table. I will have the boy put it up and deal with all of that.
Why do you keep calling him the boy? He's got a name, don't he?
No, he does not.
Why not?
Because his name was stripped of him, as you remember. And I am working on a suitable replacement.
Oh, okay. I'll leave these on the back table then.
You see, he kind of hesitates for a moment with you. And he says, I feel like you're misunderstanding my point with this. It is not that he is not deserving of a name. However, I run an Adventurers Hall. And if I'm to give someone a name, they will earn it, and it will be fitting. And when he has a fitting name, he will wear it proudly. Until that time, he is the boy, because he is a boy. And he does a good job. I was going to say, before you left, if you'd like, I can talk to some people around town to see if we can arrange decorations and perhaps entertainment. And I would be willing to offer a slight deal with you. I see you've already bought a lot of decorations, which kind of negates my whole proposition to an extent. I do still have a few contacts that I could deal with. But I was going to say, if you would continue to think about my offer of this quest and hear me out, I would be happy to front half the costs.
All right. Okay.
Wonderful. Then I would like to have your whole group together at some point this evening or this afternoon, whatever is convenient, to discuss the possibility of a paid commission by me.
Okay. Yeah. I just have to round everybody up. Yeah. Thank you for all this. By the way, you didn't have to do none of this. I appreciate it.
Supporting adventurers is what I do, and so I may not have to do it, but I choose to, and it is a pleasure. Thank you for staying alive. And he does a little bit of a flourish and a bow. He says, "I will have the boy tend to this and get us all sorted away for tonight. If it's convenient, we could finish off the party once things die down and moods are softened with this proposition. Otherwise, if you'd like, I can have these put in the back, and then we can meet before the party. Either way, I would like to get this out of the way, as you can imagine."
Yeah.
It's been sitting,
Yeah.
stewing.
Yeah. I should get everybody. I'll see you. Goodbye. And whoop.
Yeah, zoots immediately. You freaking zoot out of there.
Today. That's how it's gonna be.
And he's like, "Okay," and he turns around and goes back to that customer and deals with that. Like kind of like yells over at the boy. Which for those of you that haven't been here, the boy, is the son of the prior owner of the party house. The son of Adler Belloc, the decommissioned lawbearer of Azeroth, who was caught basically being the worst kind of human, caught up on like human trafficking and stuff like that, and was punished severely to the point that his offspring are not allowed to have names anymore. And the only reason the boy is still alive is because the party intervened to keep him safe, because they were going to end his entire lineage. Because politics. And that's just the way the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. But yeah, the boy's good. He's a good boy. He does a good job. And kind of like off screen, like the boy like grabs all the stuff and like puts it up in this bundle and just like disappears back into like Artemis's actual like living area behind the actual bar, just so that it's out of the way for this meeting whenever it happens. So Dice, where to now in this festival of zooting?
Dice kind of like they walk out of the Adventurers Hall, and they kind of stand out in the middle of the street and stops for a second and like just like a mid step and like looks at where the house is, looks to where the geisha house will be. Party house, geisha house, party house. Party house, and then goes to gather up the folks.
Okay. Giger, I'd like to imagine you come to about the time that Dice is entering, and at this point, like Fiyune has returned to her seat and is continuing to like nibble the bread, and it's this kind of thing where she's not actually hungry, but you can tell that time has passed because there's windows here, and you see that the sun is like starting to get like closer to going down. The shadows have shifted just slightly, and she's eaten like a corner of the loaf, just nibbling ever so softly. And as you come to, she like acts like she wasn't looking at you, and then slowly like looks back and says, "Oh, I did you sleep okay? Sorry, I was just eating my bread. I hope everything was fine."
You don't know. Can I do another insight check?
Yes. Okay. With a 14. Giger, what does your patron give you?
The razor.
Physically, yes.
Yes.
What was your
but he also
pact?
gives me Pact of Blade.
Yes. Technically. Technically, yes. Okay, let me rephrase this. You were in a position and were offered a contract in exchange for
Yeah.
your patron. Let me hold on. Let me pull up, because then I'll point you to it. If I'll point you to it. Hold on. Pardon me for just a moment.
Oh, protection.
A lot more than that, my dude.
Yeah. No, there's like that whole back piece.
Mm-hmm. The very pinnacle of which is protection and life.
Gotcha.
It's kind of sinking in. You are aging at 10 to 20 times the normal rate. How old was Giger when this started?
He was, well, I think I said he was 40. 40 to 45, something like that.
Okay. At the current rate you are aging, you will last a few days.
Cool.
Gnomes last a long time.
Yeah.
The signs of wear that your body is showing should not be happening for quite a while. I'm just going to let that fester. You take that little nugget and you sit on it. And about an hour from now, there'll be an egg there. Sorry. So because we're streaming on Twitch, there's a Twitch chat, and one of our watchers says, "Thank goodness he has a going away party." And that's probably the funniest comment I've seen.
I'm glad it's full of glitter as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But that is your current situation. As you come to, your fingernails at this point are like an inch or two out. You're rough. You could use a trim. You know, there's a lot going on. But Fune is there. She seems calm. What would you like to do?
That's a good question.
It's a thick nugget.
Mm-hmm. It's a very thick nugget.
You're welcome. Usually I drop these for you like at the end of the session and then give you a week to fester on them. And I think I'm going to stop doing that because I kind of like to see you squirm.
Joke's on you, session's ending right now.
Joke's on you, this is the cliffhanger.
How long do we have until we have to be at the magistrate's?
The magistrate's is at sundown, so you've got roughly like, I would say like 2 hours max.
Okay.
I would estimate probably going to be about 6 o'clock. Just to put it in real terms, you're looking at about 3 o'clock now because we started the session kind of like early afternoon, 1 or 2. You had about a 2-hour power nap, old man nap. You're looking at about, it's like 3:30 now. And just in the span, like everybody running around, having conversations, doing things. I mean, Satsuka's been zooting the whole time. She's just going so fast you can't even see her because she's hyperactive and that's how she lives her life. But
see, Dice is out and about, right?
yeah, Dice is just coming home right now.
Oh, okay.
Given the way Dice normally...
At this point, Mafuyu would be back in the room with Dice and not Dice and Piano, Giger and Piano.
Mm-hmm. So you have a Mafuyu as well. If either of you have anything that you'd like to do in the scene, you're more than welcome. Otherwise, I'll have Dice enter in just a few moments. I just like to give all the opportunities I possibly can if you guys want to have moments.
Are you going to be okay to see the magistrate? You really don't look that well.
Oh. No, I don't feel well either. I'm dying.
You're saying figuratively, right?
My patron gave me life, and I rejected it. So he's taking it. I have to figure out how to get back into the fold.
Have you told anyone else?
I just now realized it, to be honest with you. Things have been hazy at best.
You need to find help.
There is no help. There's only Zofkug. I should have never defied. I was a fool.
There has to be something. I mean, maybe once Dice gets back.
There is no hope. He controlled my life. He can take it if he wants. And it appears he wants, unless I submit. And so I must submit. I do not know what that will mean, but I may yet live.
You can't.
I already did, on a hill, long time ago. I just went back on my promise. I need to go and see if I can reconnect.
About this time, you hear the front door open as Dice enters the household. Not this room specifically, but the house.
Dice is back. I'm gonna get them.
And then I'm gonna walk out and try and meet Dice.
I'd like to imagine, Dice, as you enter the house, you kind of have like this giddy spirit about you because you've had a pretty good day. And then Fiyune comes around the corner, and just based on how you're role playing, I'd imagine Fiyune is like white as a sheet right now. Just something is clearly wrong, and if you feel that is incorrect, did I say Fiyune or did I say Mafuyu? I said Mafuyu, didn't I? Sorry, a lot of names. But Mafuyu was white as a sheet. She comes around the corner.
Hi, Mafuyu. What? Are you doing all right?
Do you know about Giger? He said he's dying.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Little worse for wear.
Is there anything you can do? I mean, we can't just let him die. Can't you do something? You help with Fiyune.
With Fiyune, it was just a matter of giving her the opportunity to choose where her soul went. She chose to come back to her body. With Giger, it's not like he's not making any choices here. He made one choice, and his patrons done the rest. I don't think that I can start meddling with other entities like that. And even if I could, I'd fully convinced that Giger would let me. So he's making his own choices now, I suppose. And I'm just gonna have to let him.
I can't accept that. We've gotten so close to each other. We can't just sit back and let him die.
If he goes back to Zothkug, then I suppose he'll be alright. The issue is going back. I've never agreed with their partnership, but the best we can do for him right now is just tell him how much we care and make sure he knows that we're willing to throw down with the deity if we've gotta. Or at least I am. I
I
think
am too.
think he worries that we didn't sign up for any of this, and that we're gonna get hurt along the way. But I know we'd be just fine.
Agreed.
For right now, we're just gonna take it one day at a time. All right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if y'all feeling up to it, Artemis wants to have a chat about his commission he's got for us, and he'd rather relay the information the one time instead of several, which I should have thought of but did not. So I suppose I came back to give everybody.
Oh, yes. I almost forgot about that. Are we seeing him prior to the magistrate?
That'd probably be the best thing, I think.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, Giger's still in the room with Fune. I'm not quite sure if he is well enough to move on his own.
All right, let's go see him. And I will go into the. Actually, I guess I don't know he's in the dining hall. Actually, I do know he's in the dining hall. We'll go there.
Okay.
Make our way over.
Slide the door open, and Giger is sitting in his chair. In the dining room, you see that the sun at this point is like coming through the windows just a little bit as it's getting closer to nighttime. Fiona looks a little bit uncomfortable, but like she's trying to make conversation. It's kind of like a dead air situation because it's not exactly the most pleasant of circumstances, and Fiona's not quite ready to handle that.
Hey, Giger, you up for taking a walk today?
I can try.
Do you want me to? You want to ride? And I'll point to Dice's shoulders.
Yes, that would be appreciated.
All right. I guess I will. I don't know. Would Giger rather be cradled, or does he want to be over the shoulder?
Well, we're heading out right now to the magistrate, or is this?
No, this is Artemis's place.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You just grab him however you feel like. He's unnaturally docile for Giger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Giger is baby.
Yeah. Well, Dice is gonna kind of like instinctually, kind of like put Giger up on their hip, kind of like a toddler.
Oh no.
It's gonna carry this is Dice's residual mom instinct.
Good. Oh, that's just nice and humiliating. Good.
So yeah, they're gonna do that.
I'd like to imagine in this moment, Dice, you like hoist Giger up, and a strange point of note, Giger is unusually light. It's like he's made of paper at this point. And he's not quite at the point of just like turning to dust and disappearing. But he's lost a lot of vitality. Giger, your movement speed is reduced by 5 right now. But there's this moment where you prop him up and like put him on your hip, that your mind immediately flashes back because you have done this before with Tapisa's daughter.
Yeah.
And it's this moment of remembering what that was like because you've seen all that and you've witnessed all that. But this is a very, very different situation. And so you take Giger and the whole party comes with you, because we'd imagine the whole party would be there for this situation. And you make your way towards the Adventurers Hall, where you open the doors and Artemis is busy preparing like the back room for you guys. Kind of like sees you guys come in, takes a special note of Giger and says, "Come this way, if you're ready at least."
Yeah.
Like ushers everybody forward into this little booth that's carved into the back of the Adventurers Hall. And he says, "Giger, if you don't mind my saying so, you're looking a little the worse for wear. Everything okay?"
My patron and I had a disagreement. My patron is winning the argument at the moment. Do you have some water?
Of course.
I need to make a thing I got from a plant lady. She didn't try and sell me anything other than this. That was nice.
You see him nod and says, I have a feeling what the kind of thing this is. I'll be back in a moment. He leaves, and comes back a little bit later with a big old mug of boiling water. He says, "Try mixing that here. I think that would do you some good." I'm assuming it was from Jezebel's.
That's the one.
This is not my place, but given your current state, I would recommend fixing this argument quickly if you can.
I intend to try. I just not sure how. Any advice for a warlock?
You see him give almost a little bit of a half smile. It says, "I have found that communication is key. If you have upset your patron, or the person that has given you any sort of ability, the best bet is to rectify the miscommunication, make amends, and move forward as best you can. If the wrong was yours, then you bear that and move forward, and if the wrong was theirs, then at least communicate. And I can't speak to your patron in particular, but hopefully they'd be understanding and an agreement could be made."
If only you knew Zothkug. Thank you for the advice.
It is my pleasure. I hate to turn the subject, but as to the reason that you're here, I have a request that I am asking only your group. Times for adventurers are getting more dire as the year grows on. More and more attacks by bandits and monsters and their ilk have left our leaderboards, if you will, a little sparse. However, I have a personal thing that I'd like to attend to. As many of you know, I was an adventurer myself many years ago, which is why I opened up this tavern. But I don't think I've told you the reason that I stopped. You see, I had a small band of 4 of us that would go out for coin and fame, as you do in your young years. But during one such expedition, while having a bit of a lie down at an abandoned temple, we were attacked by I know not what, and the rest of my party was slain. I unfortunately was asleep when everything happened, and I didn't get a chance to see what did it. But when I awoke, my 2 party members were on the ground bleeding, and my beloved Grendel was charred, as if something had ignited her. I didn't even awake to see what it could have been. I stood up and realized what had happened, and I ran for my life. But I seek to right that. I left everything and everyone there. And I want to commission your group, as well as 2 of my own people, to go back, retrieve the bodies, and give them a proper burial. I have faith that, though arduous, the journey will be smooth with the abilities that your group has. Giger's condition notwithstanding, I'd recommend we tend to that as quickly as possible, just as from one adventure to another. But with the strength that you've no doubt acquired over your journeys, I feel it would be a non-issue for you. And I'm willing, of course, to offer significant coin to fund the expedition. Do you have any? Go ahead.
Yes, I mean, I think, like you said, we can try and focus on getting Giger to a right state, but I mean, I don't see there being any issue, at least on my end. Where would we be traveling to?
The Silent Wood. There is, deep in the wood, a small temple that we were resting at. And while the wood is far more dangerous now than it was back in my time, it was never a healthy jaunt, which is why I'm requesting your assistance. I realize it is not the most desirable of adventures, but it will be beneficial for your party in the form of coin, and well, it would mean a lot to me.
You said you were staying at a temple, right?
It was a stopover, yes.
Do you remember anything about what it looked like?
I mean, it's been a number of years, but it was at one point something of a gazebo open to the air with a small domed roof. I remember that there was a table in the very center of it, which is what I was resting upon. Grendel had flowers or some such that she wanted to collect from there for arcane ingredients. And that was the majority of the reason that we went. There's also money to be had from fighting monsters and the like, and bring back teeth and skin and the like. Very useful for crafting and making weaponry and armor, things of that nature.
All right. I don't have any issue going into the wood. I would be. It is within my clerical domain and my responsibility to give your folks a proper burial.
I appreciate that.
Can I see can you pop up the world map?
Yeah, let me do that. So we'll show everybody where we're going, because we have people interested, and I guess watching too. So this is our world map. So right now, we are in, where this party token is, in Azeroth. So the Silent Wood is to the west and the north, past the crossroads. So it would be a journey to the crossroads, which is about 2 days, and then at least another day into the Silent Wood. We've been in this area before. This is the area where Dice found Tapisa's cabin, and you found initially the body of Dao's father, but you have never strayed into the actual wood in the campaign.
Gotcha.
Does this would sounds familiar to
Oh, yes.
something to this? Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Oh, things are about to get spicy.
Oh no. Spicy does not mean good
Oh,
in
yes.
this sense.
Oh, it's gonna be spicy. Oh.
This is 4 days transit.
Ooh. So I better
You're looking at an absolute minimum of 3 days. That's 2 days to the crossroads, 1 day to the Silent Wood, and that does not include a day of preparation. Can I just say I love the tension in here right now?
That's so many days.
Yeah. Go back up. Sorry, Taxes decided to say hello.
It's okay.
Hi, buddy. I think after Giger has talked to Artemis, as everyone's talking, because the original plan was he was gonna just kind of have a little bit to go and meditate and try and do his little spooky thing where he reaches out and tries to connect with the Zofkug. I think Giger's going to kind of not necessarily try to, but just kind of peel off and try and find a quiet room or a quiet spot and try and do that and see if he can't get a hold of something.
Right now?
As soon as possible.
I mean, because the world is open to you. If you want to do that right now, you can. The reason I'm asking is because you're in the middle of this negotiation here. So I'm asking if you're like waiting for that to be done, or if you're leaving. Like you're like, I'm going to leave.
When that's done, when that negotiation is finished.
Okay. Because it's a very different mood between like, oh, this is done, I'm gonna go find a quiet place, to like, you tell the story and I leave. Yeah, you can absolutely do that, and we can arrange that. There's rooms in the Adventurers Hall that you could easily request, and you would know that. And there's also the party home, Belloc Manor, if you will, Chateau de Stone Dog. So Artemis at this point would open it up if you guys had any questions or curiosities about the journey or anything like that. And then after that, we can absolutely have a time that you can attempt to right your wrongs, my boy. Attempt being the key word. Artemis kind of looks towards everybody and says, I realize that it's a big ask, but if you'd be willing, I would, well, honestly, I'd be most appreciative. It's very dear to my heart. Grendel and I were very close. We had hopes. And it was not easy when those were taken. But that is my issue and not yours. If you're willing, I would be more than happy to finance at least a portion of this. And as I mentioned, I'll be bringing 2 of my own men along as well, just for additional support. Especially the time, so I want to make sure that everyone is safe.
Artemis.
I would like to head that way myself. If I'm able to patch things up with my patron, that is.
Well, that's 2.
I think we'd all be alright with it. I mean, Artemis is, as adventurers, it's part of our job to do things like this, but even as your friend, I'd be happy to do it. I do
Exactly.
as friends.
You've done so much for our group already, and I'm sure so many other adventurers. If there's anything that we can even do to repay you back for all all that you've done for us, count me in.
You see him kind of like hesitate a little bit and then nod. Says, I appreciate it. I I hear your words and I appreciate them. I hope that you don't think of this as a debt. I wouldn't ask this from a position of power. But I am greatly appreciative of your assistance in this matter. If it fits your schedules, we could leave tomorrow or the day after. I have my people waiting. Truth be told, I was intending to go either way and leave the boy in charge of things here while I'm gone. But I will feel a lot better about my return with you all in tow.
The sooner the better. I may not have too much longer to show my commitment.
I understand. I will arrange for a carriage to hopefully aid in this. That can at least take us to the crossroads. I have contacts there that would be more than capable of returning the carriage here to at least speed along our journey there. Additionally, I will offer the sum of 125 gold pieces apiece to each of you for journeying with me, if that is agreeable.
That's fine with me.
Wonderful.
Fine.
I will get those divvied tonight at some point, and then have them for you by the morning. Just because of the risks involved, I feel it would be more appropriate to pay up front. Plus, as adventurers, always take at least half up front. Don't let anyone pay in the end. Never works out. I will see to things on our side. If you need anything from me in the meantime, please don't hesitate to let me know, and I will see to it that it is done, or that we reach some sort of an accord regarding it. But that is my quest, and I appreciate your assistance more than I can say. It helps my heart feel much more at peace.
I used to go in for the hug.
It's like kind of this awkward thing where like you're all in like a booth.
Yep.
And he'll like, because he knows you at this point. He's like, yeah, this is the dice thing. And we'll give you the hug. You can tell that just because like this has been a quest that's been like led up to just a little bit. This is something that weighs on his mind, especially with your insight and your knowledge of Artemis. This is something that he was nervous to ask for because it's not an easy quest. The Silent Wood is not a place to be traveled lightly by any stretch of the means. With that done, Giger, would you like to find a place to go and be, or how would you like that to be?
I think Giger will, just kind of, he will excuse himself and just try and find a room, or ask Artemis if he can have a side room.
Artemis immediately asks like, how long you're going to need it for, and I'm sure if you explain your situation as you have to me, he's like, it's fine, just use the first one on the right. You open the door, and it's the same room that you guys, like, you've been in that room before. You enter in that room and close the door behind you as everybody's kind of just like hashing out a couple of like the last minute details for this endeavor. Make a religion check. With a 10, Giger, you close your eyes and pray. You know what? No. Giger, what do you do? The outcome is set, but I want to know how you got to it.
Giger is going to get down, face down on the floor, and reach out his left arm and stretch his palm and go, I serve, sacrifice. And being that he slashed at Zothkug's left arm. So basically offering his left arm for comeuppance if he can come back to Daddy.
Okay.
See you, Percy.
Okay. So here's what happens. Nothing.
Yeah.
You prostrate yourself before this empty room. You do not feel the presence of your deity. You put out your hand knowing exactly what you did, offering it as a sacrifice, as he put it, as penance for your crimes of attacking your deity, your patron. And there's nothing. Press your palm into the wood. Like your fingernails at this point are like digging in just slightly into the wood flooring. And you hear a scratching sound underneath your hand. But that is all. What do you do?
So the scratching sound is just underneath my hand.
Yeah, it's this odd thing where like your hand is there and you hear it's almost like you're going like this with your nails, but you're not. It sounds like something scratching on wood.
Can I put my ear down in that spot?
Where you hear the scratching?
Yeah.
Okay. You move your hand to put your ear down there and see what looks like a line that has been scratched on the wood of the floor. And put your ear up to it and just hear it continue to scratch underneath you. It seems like there's something either chewing at or scratching at the wood. You can't make out what kind of like a creature it is. But yeah, that's what you hear. It's like this repetitive, like every couple seconds there's another scratch. And it goes on for about 30 seconds and then it stops.
Interesting. I think for now, Giger's just going to go ahead and sit and watch the spot and try and contemplate what he's going to do next.
Okay.
And then meditate when he can.
Okay. As you get back up onto your knees, you see something has been scratched into the floor where your left hand was. And you recognize it instantly. Because the rune is carved into your back. You see the symbol of the inverted Othala with those two lines going through it. That's the very center of your back piece. It's carved underneath where your left wrist was. Or like your left arm, like where your palm was.
trying to think. I think the next step that Giger would take logically is to just see if he can slice his hand and put his bloody palm to the seal.
How are you doing that? Are you just doing a slash?
Really good question. I want to be extremely specific on this.
Okay.
So, I think in order to do it's basically just the movie cut, but not as, you know, he's not going to run a whole sword down his hand. He's just going to use the blade and slide his hand down slightly and cut just into the flesh a little bit, but nothing that will. So basically, I'm trying to just make it bleed.
Okay. You make the slash and press your hand into this mark on the floor. And watch as. So if you imagine if you cut just like a movie style like this right here, a line of the Othala fills with your blood to match where you've cut. So I will draw this out, and this is a very spicy situation, so I apologize. And I've issued a small thing in the Twitch chat because Zothkug is a very spicy thing, and so if you don't like this scene, then I apologize. But it is a recurring issue, and this is not a thing that happens very frequently. So the symbol that you see is not easy to see here, but it is this. Let me just pull that back just so there we go. You've seen this before. It's a thing in your back.
Yeah.
And so one of those lines that kind of matches where you've made this mark is filled.
I'm going to do my other hand.
Okay. I'm going to say you spend. I'm going to narrate through this for you. Just because, especially with Twitch going, I don't want to dwell on this very extensively. You get.
Sorry, y'all.
No, it's not you. It's one of those things that like you play a campaign for a long time and you have a certain tone, and then you open a campaign to the world and realize that the tone is very, very dark and not everybody's ready for it. And I don't want to just put that on this whole stream. You take 30 to 45 minutes just experimenting and end up carving this sigil into your left palm. And watch as the grooves that you cut are etched into the floor as well, even deeper than they were. And that's what you get. No reassurance, no thunderclap. But that's what you get.
How do I feel?
In what way?
Am I still feeling like I'm, exhausted, or can I do what was it, insight check for that one?
It's I won't make you roll for this because it's kind of like just like a self-evaluation right now. There's not a lot that's changed. I mean, you're in pain, obviously. because what your patron has been doing on your back the entire campaign has been done. Now you've self-inflicted it. You don't feel worse, but you don't necessarily feel better right now. It's a thing that I will tell you, if something has changed, it will take time.
Gotcha.
It's not an instant fix. There's definitely a sense of you did wrong.
Oh yeah. Daddy's mad at me. I think Giger is going to, because I know there's a cot in this room.
Mm-hmm. There's two, one on either side.
I think he's just going to go to the nearest cot and lay down.
Okay. Do you wrap or bind your hand at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he wouldn't leave a wound open.
Okay.
That would go against everything that he's trained to do. So yeah, no, he would tend to it somehow, even if it was lightly.
Okay.
Probably wrap something around it and make sure it was stop bleeding to some degree.
Okay. So I'll come back to you. Dice and Mafuyu. You spend the better part of like 15 minutes just hashing out details, travel itinerary. You guys are going to meet in the morning. So you have just a couple of hours to get anything that you want to get before you guys go. And he says that there's supplies obviously in the crossroads on the way. Just because it's been made clear that time is of the essence to him. And so he's pushing forward schedules. But Giger leaves and doesn't come back for 30-ish minutes. I'm just curious if you guys do anything about that, or what your next steps are going to be.
Did he mention that he wanted to be alone?
No.
No.
He just kind of like excused himself, had a quick word with Artemis, and just disappeared. I mean, you could tell that something was wrong, likely, I would imagine, just based on his body language and the situation that he's in. But he specifically said that he wanted to be alone. He could have just been tired. I mean, he's an old man. He could have just been tired. Need an old dude nap.
Yeah, I think Dice would try to go check on him.
Okay. How do you go about that?
Did I see what direction he went to?
Yeah, I mean, the Adventurers Hall is not very large, and so you could easily see that he went like down the hallway with all the rooms.
Okay. I guess Dice will just because there are other people that like live here sometimes, or like they stay here.
Mm-hmm.
So Dice is gonna like listen for Giger if they can. Maybe like knock very gently on a couple of doors if they think that he might be in one.
I would say, because right now there isn't anybody here, and the roster is quite low. You knock on the first door, no response from inside. Sounds like somebody could be in there sleeping, but you don't hear response. Second and third door, same thing. There doesn't sound like there's anybody inside. Nobody specifically answers the door. Fortunately, Giger's asleep and isn't quite answering the door right now.
Yeah.
He's asleep and can't come to the phone.
Let's see. Dice will ask Artemis.
Okay.
If he knows where Giger went.
He mentioned wanting to have a brief reprieve, and I told him the first door would be open for him. If he's anywhere, I'd imagine he'd be in the first room.
All right. So yeah, Dice will go find the first room.
Okay.
Just like Mafuyu's gonna tag along, kind of like off on the shoulder.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so Dice is gonna find the first door. Kind of like grab Mafuyu's hand with one hand and very quietly try to open the door and peek in. As stealthily as Dice can, which is to say not at all.
Dice will now fall through the door.
Yep.
It's
I can roll stealth if you want.
You don't.
Instructions unclear. Kicked through door.
Dice.
Yeah.
Stealth will not help you here.
No.
If you would like to roll stealth, you can, but you're
You know what?
Why don't you roll stealth?
Screw it. Do it.
Roll stealth.
Okay,
Oh,
you're
God.
gonna have to do it for me.
Oh
I
shoot,
get
you're right.
disadvantage.
Perfect.
Because I'm in heavy
Perfect.
armor.
Well, we'll see how effectively you hide.
Excellent.
Mafuyu, would you like to roll stealth? Would you like to roll stealth as well?
What was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead. Roll stealth. Roll stealth.
It's gonna be like a
I'll give you a straight roll because Dice has disadvantage, which means it's really hard for you to hide behind a person that has disadvantage. With 17, I mean, you're smaller than Dice is. You're like hidden behind them. Dice, it's the oddest thing because you like go to slide the door open because I use a lot of Japanese themes, so it's like a shogi style door. You slide the door
I
open
forget every time.
and hear the sound. It's almost like antlers on wood. Like, have you ever heard like the sounds like deer make when they attack trees or like they're in a rutting fight? You hear that. And you slide this door open just a little bit at a time and find a room that is supernaturally darkened. And on every surface of the walls, the floor, and the ceiling, you see the same shape that Giger has just spent the past 30 minutes cutting into his palm. And it is the symbol of the inverted Othala, painted with blood. And in the darkened corner opposite you, you see that the shadows have made this sort of looming shape that seems to come out of the wall with a set of antlers that fills to both sides of this room. And you just see two yellow eyes staring at you as you enter.
Does Dice see Yeager?
You see what looks to be a desiccated, withered corpse laying on a bed with one arm outstretched.
Okay. Dice is gonna bust in and stand over Giger and look Zothkug right in the eye. And I'm just gonna stare him down.
The moment you cross this threshold, first, you feel an overwhelming presence. You have seen Zothkug, and you've experienced Zothkug, but not to this extent. And you feel a weight to your soul that you can feel all the way through that line to your deity. And as soon as you cross the threshold, what you've seen fades. And you see Giger, as he is, still alive and uncomfortably sleeping on this cot, with his face, still eyes closed, turned towards where Zothkug was. But as soon as you enter, he is no longer there. And that is a great place to end the session.
Jesus.
So, thank you all for joining us on this tantalizing journey of
Spicy nuts.
accidental trigger warnings that I didn't think about before we started because I don't think about such things. Sorry.
Giger's here.
To be fair, I did the best I could to like let chat know at least. So it was in the chat like, hey, trigger warning, like this is very spicy. But excellent session. Good work. I'm excited to see where this goes, and if Giger's
having a
alive,
party.
the next session, huh?
We're having a party.
Yeah, next like we go from this until like 2 hours from now. It's gonna be a party with streamers and dancers and all kinds of stuff. Geishas like
On Twitter.
just dancing around. Somewhere in the back of this
Love
place
it.
is like a 5-gallon tub of just nothing but mica powder. But you guys did great. Love you guys. You doing okay? Oh, there's a puppy.
Hi, Poppy.
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna put us into
Oh.
the
Hi.
post-stream mode for a couple minutes.
Post-stream.
Post-stream mode.
What does that mean?
It means I turn off the cameras and they get to just hear us chitter for a couple minutes while it says the stream is ending.
Chitter-chatter.
So if anybody has questions or anything like that, we can address them. Also, Fifi is absolutely still at the house. Has probably gotten to, I would say, probably 3 nibbles of bread.
Oh, Fifi.
And just to be the DM that like has complicated names, I'm sorry. It's Fuyune, Fuyune, and that one is not my fault. But if you want to get into some spicy
That is my
names,
fault.
And that one is not my fault. Okay.
listen, no, because I
All
do
my
spicy
sister's
names.
Are so annoying.
They're so good though. It's immersive. And then I make the Karuka, and they have names like Ikpaki and Tikaani, and I do what I do. But thank you all for watching. The chat actually has been hilarious. One person realized 3/4 of the session that it is in fact a house for a party, not a house in which parties happen. Which every time I say that, I think of that, and so it cracks me up.
The party house.
It's the party house. It's the I'll just start calling it the Chateau de Stone Dog. Yeah, I love seeing people like getting involved and like chatting. Because I just love you guys. Thanks for watching. You guys make this really fun. You guys, the players, make this really fun. So thanks for being here and doing what you do. We'll pick up next week with Giger being not quite dead yet, I guess.
Fingers
That
crossed.
stressed me out.
Fingers crossed. Well, you got your whole thing with blood too.
Yeah, there's that. This
So,
is gonna be real rough.
It's gonna be
on
it's gonna be a
Mafuyu.
great session.
This is gonna be.
Forgot
Like,
about her phobia.
If
Mhm.
we're
Yeah.
if we're heading into Giger Town,
I will say that, you know what? For those of you that are still in, there's 4 people still watching. For those of you that are still here, I'm gonna dive in for just a moment and go a little deeper into this final scene because it's a Marvel movie post-credit scene. Because Dice, you crossed the threshold. Mafuyu did not. Mafuyu, you watch this shadow stare down this entering Dice and turn away like it's nothing and go through the wall towards the back of the building.
I just got chills, and I don't like that.
And that's what you see before the vision fades. That, and I mean, the walls are just covered in blood because blood.
why not?
Why not?
We love to see it.
Yes. This is not the worst thing I've done with blood, actually. So, that is the end of the post-credit scene. I ran Death House for the guys that I run on Fridays, and one of the things they did is they like lifted up a dumbwaiter and there's a head on top because it's a spooky like haunted house thing. Of course, there's a head on top. So they grabbed it and they just put it in a bag, like they took the head. It's like going to a haunted house, like snatching the prop and taking it. I was like, you know what? I'm a mess with that. And so like 45 minutes later, I was like, your backpack is just kind of sloshy, you know, like you just walk in, you just slish slosh, my dude. And I was a lot more moody than I am because obviously when I'm out of DM mode, I kind of just like vibe a little bit more. I'm not quite as dramatic, but they're like, well, what's in it? And I was like, you put your hand in there and there's just blood everywhere. And they're like, well, that's gross. I'll dump it out. And they turned it down. I narrated basically like The Shining elevator scene, but it's down like 3 flights of stairs and it's just eternal blood. Because I do what I want. I'm a dungeon master that focuses on gothic horror and scenes of metaphorical psychological terror. So
I thought it was gonna be one of those things where like when you're a kid and your folks put like peeled grapes and like spaghetti noodles into a bag and they tell a story and you stick your hand in it. You're
You
like, ew, gross, it's eyeballs.
you wish. No, it's just a bag of blood. Just a bag of just
Oh,
it's a
great.
bottomless bag of blood.
Bottomless bag of blood.
But anyway, thank you all for joining us. I hope you have a great night, and we will see you next week, hopefully with a full party. We had some complications with some of our party members this week that weren't able to make it, but I don't foresee that happening next week. I will keep it posted. We stream